Hey guys, how y'all doing? I was tagged by Mr. Nathan 4071, the Ferro Rod King, to show my 3 favorite knives, and I've done a lot of thinking, long and hard, and I can't do it. I cannot come up with 3 knives that are my favorite because I got too many of them. I'm a total knife nut. I guess you call me a low budget knife nut, but nonetheless, over the last 25 years or so, I've gathered quite a few knives, and thought I'd show you some of them, or most of them. So y'all hang tight. Let's start off with the Mora knives. This is a Mora 546G discontinued knife. It's got a stainless steel blade and the olive drab handle. A Mora Mickey. It's another discontinued Mora. I bought it off eBay about 5 years ago. A Mora Companion. I hadn't even used this one yet. I just got it. This is Mora 511. I wanted it from Carolina Chris. Use it quite a bit. And this is the first Mora knife I ever bought. I bought it from Sportsman's Guide. It started my love for the Mora knives. This is a Mora Clipper, which is, the Companion is basically the updated version of the Clipper. Their shape and everything is really close. They're almost identical. I think the Companion, the tang is supposed to be a little longer than the Companions though. These 3 knives here are laminated steel knives. These 2 are carving knives. And this one is more of a hunting knife. Something else I bought off eBay. This is a draw knife by Mora. This is more of a boning knife. I use it pretty often when I'm cutting up meat. And then a hoof knife. Someone picked up at the flea market. I was thinking it might work out for like carving a bowl or something, but I never have used it. Let's move on to some Schrade knives. Sadly, that's something that you don't see on a Schrade knife anymore. The Schrade USA plant closed in 2004. These knives are all USA made. I got that one when I was 16. You can tell it's been used a lot. My granddad gave me that when I was 14. Bought that. I must have been about 18 when I bought that one. And these fillet knives, this fillet knife I got on clearance after Schrade went out of business. I got it on clearance at Walmart. And this one came from Smoky Mountain Knife Works. It came new in that box I just showed you. And it was some stock they had bought from the Schrade factory. The same thing with this knife. It actually came with a little vice grip plier that I can't find. But on the handle of that plier is like a multi-tool. It had a knife blade and a little saw blade and screwdriver, all that kind of stuff. But I don't own any of the newer Schrade knives. I know the new Uncle Henry Schrades, a lot of those look like that crap that comes out of Pakistan, and I just can't stand it. I know they do have several new outdoor knives that look like they're pretty well made. These 3 fillet knives are Rapala. Rapala does not make their own knives. They contract it out to the companies and they just put their name on it. This knife is made by EKA of Sweden. They make a very good quality knife. It holds an edge really well. Good knife. This one is made by Martini of Finland. This one happens to have a rubber handle. Most of them you see will have a wooden handle. They have excellent steel in the blades as well. And then this one has to be made by Mora. It says Rapala Sweden. But if you look at this handle and compare it to a Mora 711, the handles are identical. So my guess is that's made by Mora. All right, for the buck knives, these 2 models are both the Buck Manum. This is the largest model in that series, and this is the smallest model. This one stays on my keychain, so it gets used quite a bit. This one, I actually used it for a good while as an EDC knife, and I was disappointed when I bought them to learn that these two were made in China, but the blade steel is actually pretty good. They hold an edge really well. And this is just a small trapper, and this one I used it for EDC knife for a while, but it's got the open back, and it also carried my coin change in the same pocket, and it would always fill up in that knife and jam the blade shut. I didn't like that. All right, on to Victor Knox. This is a Alox Farmer. This one is the I believe this is the camper model. Not real positive. And this is a beef skinner. A lot of people don't realize that they also make commercial kitchen cutlery. And I have a couple other kitchen type Victor Knox knives. They're very good knives. And I just love the little Swiss Army knives. I mean, they're very handy to have. I don't carry one for EDC because I carry a Leatherman, but if I didn't have that Leatherman, I'd definitely go with the Victor Knox. Here's a few knives I couldn't really figure out how to categorize them. This is a Japanese Kiridishi knife. It was hand forged by Ram City. It's a gift to me. A very handy little knife. This is an Opinel. I know everybody knows a Penel, Opinel. I don't know how to say it. A little bit different than what you're used to seeing. Fillet knife. I've used it a couple times. It's a pretty good knife. This is probably the finest knife I own at the moment. It's titty out cutlery. Titusville Iron Works. It was a gift recently. Very nice knife. I could just sit and look at it. This is an old knife. I'm not sure how old it is. Something someone had made. I believe it's a deer leg bone, and the blade is actually set with it must be lead or pewter, but the weight of it, I'm thinking it's probably set with lead. But it's got lead poured through the entire length of the handle, and that's what holds the blade in. It's something my wife's grandmother gave me. Rather interesting. You can see how thin that blade is. You can see how thin that blade is. It is super thin. This is a Martini. It was sold as just a bait knife, but it has the same blade as a timberjack. It holds an edge quite well, but the spine is actually soft on it. It does not strike a ferro rod with flip. This is an S-twing. I bought it because it matched my S-twing leather handle hatchet. It's actually made by Jarvenpää of Finland. And this is a Jeff White trade knife. I bought this off eBay several years ago, back before Dave Canterbury started endorsing the Jeff White knives. Actually, I don't like it too much. It's got a really sharp edge right here. It's not too comfortable to hold, and it has these notches cut right here at the thumb, and the notches have sharp edges as well. And also the bevel on the knife is not even from one side to the other. I actually had to do quite a bit of sharpening on this one side to get it even with this side. So, I don't know, I wasn't too happy with that knife when I got it. Here's a couple of Rough Rider pocket knives. They were given to me by Willie Bailey. They're inexpensive knives, but for the price, they're very good quality. Take an edge really well, and they hold that edge. So for the price, you can't go wrong with those. These knives are from back when I used to work in a small meat processing plant. They're all made by Dexter Russell. It's a 6-inch beef skinner. It works really well for beef. 5 1/4 inch lamb skinner. I like to use it for skinning hogs. And a 5-inch boning knife and a 6-inch boning knife. You can probably tell by looking, this knife hadn't had hardly any use at all, just because for a boning knife, I think the 5-inch knife is perfect, and the 6-inch knife is, I think it's too hard to control. Now it's Leatherman time. I know everybody knows Leatherman. It's one of my favorite brands. This is a Leatherman P4 Squirt. I carried that for 12 years. You can tell it's pretty worn, but it still works just as well as the day I bought it. It's about 3 years ago I started carrying the Leatherman Sidekick. So that's now my EDC. The Leatherman Wave, I bought it, I don't know, I guess about 12 years ago. I don't use it too much. And the Leatherman Super Tool, that's the first Leatherman that I bought. I bought it, I guess about 20 years ago. I've used it quite a bit, but for something to carry, I think the Leatherman Sidekick is just about the right size. The only thing I didn't like about the Squirt was just it's small. I mean, I carried it for 12 years, but there were a lot of things that I could have done with a bigger pair of pliers. And then I have the Leatherman Micra, which was also a gift. And I used it a couple weeks ago when I went fishing. I have it in a tackle box now where I keep it. It's really handy for cutting the fishing line. Of course, you got all the multiple tools on it as well. These knives are all projects. This is probably the second knife I ever made. I used a Sawzall blade for the blade. A little fillet knife, and that's got I used a piece of a crosscut saw blade to make that one. And the rest of these, the blades all came from the Camillus USA factory. It closed in 2007. And Smoky Mountain Knife Works was selling the blades really cheap, and I bought a bunch of blades. So it's kind of a hobby of mine. I got out of it for a while, and recently I kind of got back into it. And I say my sheath work has definitely improved. It's hard to find the time, but that's something I love to do. Well, after all that, these are the knives that get the most use, and I'm not going to tell you about them again. One thing that I would like to point out, a little lanyard that I have on my keychain for this knife. I made it just long enough so you can pull it off pretty quick if you want to use it. So that's something handy, you know. So you don't have to drag that keychain around with you every time you want to use that little knife. I appreciate y'all watching. I hope I didn't bore you too much. Not sure how long this video is going to end up being until I get to editing it. Y'all please go check out Nathan4071, great guy, and we'll see you next time.